Hi everyone, my name is Audrey O'Connor and I'm going to bring you through a beginners to intermediate level Pilates class today for Iconic Offices. Our class is going to be a really strong core based class. I'm going to work on mobility around those really tight areas at the moment, like the shoulders and the hips, and we're really going to work on a lot of strength and conditioning. So hopefully feel lengthened and strengthened and really stretched out after our session. So really looking forward to seeing you on the mat. For our class today, all you're going to need is a mat, a cushion, and you're good to go. So as always, I'm going to start my session today with either your legs crossed and seated. You can go into kneeling, you can be in mermaid, whatever suits your hips best just to start your practice. Make sure you're comfortable, that you're sitting upright and you're really present and sitting really comfortably on your block, your cushion, or on the floor. I want you to start by placing the palms facing up. I want you to get the thumb and the knuckle of the index finger together. And as you press those two spaces together, open up the fingertips. Find length from the tailbone up through the gut, the heart space, the shoulders, the clavicle, and the back of the neck. And just find your breath. Take a deep breath in, inhale. Pause, exhalation. Pause. As you breathe in, expand, find space. Pause and exhale, release the breath. As you inhale, find space to the skull, the crown of the head. Find it lengthening up, holding and releasing. Breathing in, let the breath travel into your lungs, the core, the pelvis, the root. Hold. Let the breath release, exhale. As you breathe in, find a hold, release, pause. I want you to continue this breath pattern. An inhalation for 2 to 3 seconds, a pause for 2 to 3 seconds, a gentle release for 2 to 3 seconds, and then another pause for 2 to 3 seconds. Find the cycle of breath and breathe through it about 8 more times. Notice how you're feeling today, how the body's feeling. Is it tight? Is it feeling loose, energized? Whatever word you have to describe how you're feeling today, don't associate a narrative with it. Just observe it and bring it back to your breath. Taking 4 more breaths. The eyes can be closed, or the eyes can be open. And 1 more breath. And release. From here, taking the right hand up, lengthen the right hand over the left ear, and feel that even though you're bringing the right hand over the left ear, the right elbow is pressing up and away from you towards the ceiling. Can you take your left hand and place the fingertips, if they'll reach, onto the floor beside you? And from here, I want you to gently draw the elbow away from that left shoulder blade. Could you bring the elbow forward and away and get a nice deep stretch along all those muscles in the side of the neck? As you stay here and breathe, could you take 3 more breaths and really deepen into this stretch for 2. And on 1, and then maybe that left arm could lengthen up off the floor, and then create some nice big circles with that left arm as you're really lengthening the neck on the left hand side and drawing it towards the right elbow for 2. And 1, release. Good. Take the right hand down, take the left hand onto the outside of the right ear. And again, as I press those fingertips into the ground on the right hand side, my left elbow is reaching forward and away, and I'm really trying to lengthen the space along the neck. That kind of space that if you've been at your desk all day, that you really need to stretch out, or maybe you just woken up first thing in the morning and you need to give it a bit of space. 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath, release. One of the most basic exercises you can do for your neck, I want you to bring your palms onto your knees. I want you to bring your chin to your chest. And as you bring your chin to your chest, can you really lengthen the back of your neck? Lengthen the back of your skull and really allow the whole of the neck to elongate. Then from here, as you're bowing down, look over your left shoulder with your right eye. Let the gaze travel over. Let the gaze travel up. And let the gaze go all the way over to your right hand side. Drop your gaze and then look over to your left shoulder. Engage your core as you exhale and lift around. 2 more times. Sometimes you'll feel a little bit of noise in the neck, a little bit of clicking. That's normal. 1 more. And reverse your direction. Looking over your right shoulder with your left eye. Creating space, feeling really long in the neck. And releasing for 3. For 2. And on 1, come back to center as I press my hands down into my knees. Can I really allow the root of my tailbone and my gut and my heart to open? Open your throat. And then bring your chin to your chest. Draw the belly button towards the spine. Round the spine. Exhale. Inhale, press into the hands. Find that really growing and rooting upwards as you open the chest. Open the collarbone. Feel the bottom of the shoulders stretching through your chest. And release. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale, connecting. 1 more time, pressing through. Opening. And rounding. Let's make this a little bit more challenging now. Bring your hands behind your head. Interlock your fingertips. Keep that rounded position. Feel the tailbone slightly tucking under just a little bit. And as I press my ribs behind me, I'm really stretching out the back like I'm doing a seated cat-cow. And then lengthen, tailbone opens. And the heart opens, the chest opens, the elbows press back. Take a pause and exhale. Inhale to open, sit forward of your sitting bones. And release. Let's go for 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Open and stretch the hands out behind you. Press the fingertips onto the floor. As the fingertips are on the floor, can you find space? Can you really open the anterior chain of your body? Can you open that throat and pause here for 4 breaths? 3, beaming your heart up towards the ceiling. For 2. And on 1 from here. Take your arms, take them forward. It doesn't matter if your fingertips don't touch the floor. If they touch the floor today, it's a bonus. If they don't, it's something you can work on. Take the fingertips forward. Send the sit bones back behind you. And as you send those hands forward, can you allow the sit bones to really press into the mat? Can you allow your head, neck and shoulders to release down towards the floor? Maybe the fingertips will stretch away from you. Maybe they won't. And then I want you from this position to open your heart, open your chest. And then round. Open the heart, open the chest. And round. For 2. And on 1, let's work on our side work. Bring your left hand wide. Bring your right hand wide so they're shoulder width apart. Notice how the right sit bone here wants to lift. Press that right sit bone into the floor. This is something I really love to do in my class at the start, to really open up the hips and the shoulders. Press the fingertips down into the floor. Feel the right hip pressing into the mat. And as you lengthen, lift your core, open your heart, open your chest. And then round, sink into it. And open. And round. For 2. And 1, lengthen that left hand long. Maybe the right hand to go a little bit forward more. And really pull that right hand towards you as you press the left hand away, gazing at the space between your thumbs. Keep on pulling the right hand towards you, the left hand away. Get a deep myofascial stretch. And then maybe you could press the right hand away from the left hand towards you. And right hand comes towards you, left hand presses away. And 1 more time, bring the left hand super wide. It's pretty much in line on my hip. Bring your right hand up. And as you bring that right hand up, let the right hand reach away. Now from here, get a deep stretch by bending your elbow, sending your elbow to the back wall, your arm follows, and really squeeze the shoulders gently together. Really send that left elbow to the floor. Maybe your gaze will allow you to twist to look up at your right hand and breathe and really sink into this deep stretch. Can you feel the heart unwinding towards the sun, towards the ceiling, wherever you are today? And breathe for 2. And on one, feel that right arm reach across, working through the whole side body. Feel that stretch. Maybe the left elbow will release down into the floor as you get deeper into the side body. And breathe into the right rib for 4, for 3, for 2, and on 1, come back to center, and just notice the difference between the two sides. Which side feels more open? Hopefully the left side. And which side needs more work. From here, again, don't worry your fingertips don't touch the floor. They can be midair, that's totally fine. Bring the hands. Now we're going to start on the right hand side. Left hand on the left hand side of your right knee. Right hand on the right hand side of your right knee. And just a very delicate cat-cow here. Open your heart, open your throat. And round your back. Find a bit more space as you lengthen. Maybe the fingertips will walk away. Open. And round. One more time. Open. And round. From here, maybe as the hands press into the floor now, you could press that left hand towards you, the right hand away. And then pull the right hand towards you, the left hand away. And it's almost like you're having a tug of war with your hands while you're really working and stretching out that fascia as you go for 2. As you go for 1, bring the right hand wide so it's aligned with your hip. Let the left hand lift up. As my left hand lifts up, it's really, really aligned on my ear here. It's stretching out, and my right hand is definitely aligned on my hip. From here, can you open up and twist a little by bending your left elbow to the back wall behind you. The wrist and hand are going to follow as well. Send your right rib towards your left and feel that lovely twist and rotation, and feel that you're really trying to send that elbow in line with your hand and forearm. Breathe into the spaces that need a bit of opening as you go for 4. I think all our spaces need opening at the moment. My hips are super tight from, just not being as active as usual because we're not doing our things we do in everyday life. 2 more. And 1 more. Lengthen that left arm long. As I lengthen that left arm long, maybe I could feed that right elbow towards the floor and slowly soften towards the floor while still trying to press my left rib up towards the ceiling. And breathe for 3. Keep on working on softening that right elbow down for 2. And for 1, and release. If you're sitting on a block, get rid of it. You don't need it now, and put it aside. We're going to work on our core to start today, and we're going to use a bit of movements that are going to really work on our mobility while we're in core. So you're going to open your hips, work your hip flexors at the same time as working your abdominals. So lie down on your mat. Make yourself very comfortable. And let your head, neck and shoulders release down onto the floor. As you're lying on the floor, bring your thumbs together and your index fingers together. So your fingertips make a triangle shape that I'm always talking about. So both my index fingers are pointing down towards my pelvis, and my thumbs are pressing together below my belly button. And then in that space, in that triangle, that's my pelvic triangle I really want to work my breath towards. So as my heels are pressing into the ground, I'm going to take 4 conscious breaths here. I'm going to breathe in to my ribs and into my stomach and all the way down to where my index fingers are. I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to exhale and let the breath travel up. As I breathe in, feel the breath travel all the way down to your pubic area. And feel a kind of like an internal lift as you exhale. As you breathe in again, the breath travel all the way down. And think of the point where your wrists are. Feel this ASIS joint, the sides of the hips drawing inwards and upwards as you exhale. Inhale again, and feel all corners of that pelvic triangle drawing inwards and upwards as you exhale, drawing the belly button towards the spine. I want you to work on this breath pattern for a few more breaths and really connect with your core. At this time, it's a lot harder to concentrate on our breath. We just really breathe in and out sometimes, not even taking any notice of how we're doing it. In this class today, I really want you to focus on your breath traveling all the way down to your gut, to your pelvis, so you can engage your core better, you can cleanse your organs, and everything will just work a lot more efficiently. Let's go for 2 more breaths. Inhalation, expansion. Feel the belly lift. And feel the stomach engage as you exhale. 1 more time. And release. Good. Now, I want you to keep that engagement for the entire 10 minutes, 12 minutes, how long we're doing our core today. I want you to keep that core engaged. Bring your hands behind your head and interlock your fingertips. My fingertips are interlocked at the back of my skull there, so my head is resting completely on my hands. I want you to press your heels into the ground. Keep that core engaged, knees are hip distance apart. If you can't remember how hip distance apart is, remember it's your heels together, toes apart, and then you bring your heels in line with your toes, and that's hip distance. From here, gazing up at the ceiling, breathe in deeply. Find your ribs, slide your ribs down towards your pelvis, exhale, lift up into flexion. As I curl up, the ribs get a little bit slower down, they slow down and really reach down towards my pelvis. My elbows come a bit wider, and I release back down on the inhalation. And exhale, lift. Always watching the breath, always being in control of the breath. Belly button draws to the spine, tailbone is grounded. And it almost feels like you're drawing the waist inwards, like you're tying a belt and you're buckling everything in. As you go for 4 and 3, good work, and 2, and on 1, curl up to the top, stay here. As I stay here, broaden the shoulders, hammock them around the elbows a little bit more. Now from here, I want you to bring your right leg into tabletop. As you curl up a little bit deeper, the right knee is almost coming in towards your chest, as your chest is meeting your knee just as much. From here, I want you to lengthen your right leg away and bring it back in. Right leg lengthens away and bring it back in. And I'm really watching my left thigh bone here. My left knee is still, and because I'm keeping my left leg still, I know that I'm working my pelvic floor and I'm working my adductors and my groin to keep everything stable. You're like, count, Audrey, as you go for 4. Bring the knee in, send it out. 3, 2, and on 1. Bring that knee in, bring the head, neck and shoulders in, lengthen the head, neck and shoulders back at the same time the leg lengthens. Bring everything in, reach that leg away, really lengthen away for your hip socket and bring it back in. Let's go for 4. Always thinking about the breath. Good, exhalation on the effort for 2. And 1, curl up, stay here and hold. Can you lengthen that leg nice and long? Now from here, can you pull up from your kneecap a little bit more so that quad is engaged? Press your heel down towards the floor. Point your toe up towards the ceiling. If you need to drop your head down at any point and you're new to Pilates, that's totally fine. And lower, or else if you're like, Audrey, I'm so tired, I can only do half of this today, that's fine as well. As you go for 4, as you go for 3, and 2, and 1. Now my foot is pointing towards the wall in front of me. I'm going to create circles. Circle and circle with that big toe, the second toe and all other toes at the same time. Really make that circle with that foot as you go for 4. Make the circle relative to the size of your hip. Good, and then reverse your direction. I know this actually is so hard, I can feel it myself. As you go for 4, as you go for 3, watching that the belly button isn't pressing away from the lower back but it's engaged. 2 and 1, stay here and hold. Now watch that right foot. Keep everything stable. Bring the right leg wide, mobilizing the hip. Pause, bring that right thigh bone in. Right leg goes wide, and then work really hard with the inner thigh to bring the leg back in. Let's go for 6. Let's go for 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. And on 1, and release back down. Good, take a moment. Let the knees drop to the right hand side. And let the knees drop to the left hand side. From here back to center. Whenever you're ready, breathe. Take a deep inhalation. Remember the breath. Remember the exhalation as you lift. From here, bring your left leg into tabletop. From here, my right leg is completely still. My right foot, my right big toe and heel mound are really pressing down so that I can lengthen and reach that left leg away from me, and everything is going to be stable in my core and in my pelvis. And when I think about stability, I think about strength. They're so related. As you go for 4, 3, 2, and on 1, bring the head, neck and shoulders in, curl everything in. Now lengthen the leg away from the crown of the head, exhale, curl in. You'll start to feel like the lower ab area and the lower rib area working really hard as you go for 6, and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, stay here. My head is definitely resting into my hands, and then I'm going to circle the foot in front of me at that wall. Let's go for 6. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reverse your direction. 6, Find that lift. Good, ribs dropping down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that leg lengthened, bring the leg wide. Draw it back in with the inner thighs wide and draw it back in. Let's go for 6 and 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Let everything release down onto the floor. Good. Bring your feet super wide, like the width of the mat on the left and right. My knees are still bent. That's where my feet are. And then I'm going to bring both knees to the right hand side. I can look over my left shoulder if I want to. Bring both knees over to the left hand side, look over the right shoulder. And let's go for 5 more breaths. Just bringing the knees from left to right for 4, for 3. Exhaling as you twist for 2. And on 1, release. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. As you reach the arms behind you, press your heels down into the ground. Exhale, curl your head, neck and shoulders off the mat. If you're brand new to Pilates and you're just a beginner, you can have your palms reaching down, your feet on the ground. If you want to work a little bit harder and challenge yourself more, bring your right leg and float into tabletop by pressing the sit bones down and lifting the other leg into tabletop, knees together, feet together. If you need to support your head with your hands, do that right now. Draw the thumbs in. Feel the ribs soften. Curl up a little bit deeper. Good. And from here, either bent knee, straight leg. Inhale 1000, exhale deeply. Really watching the belly button drawing to the spine on the exhalation. Really rooting for that stability as you go for 6. If you want to bend the knees, you can, or go from bent knee to straight leg. For 5. Good work. For 4. For 3. Good work. For 2. Almost there. And on 1, bring everything home. Bring everything in. Press the knees in towards the chest. Press the tailbone down. Bring the hands behind the head. Remember, feet can be down on the ground as well. And twist. And twist. And twist. And twist. Remember, my elbows going to the outside of that knee as I catch my breath as you go for 6. 6. 5. 5. 4. 4. 3. 3. 2. 2. 1. And 1. And release. Good work. Bring the knees into your chest. Bring them wide and circle them around for 4. For 3. And 2. And on 1. So the really nice thing about that ab series is you're working your core, but you're really getting into those really tight areas in the hips as well and really working them at the end of your range. Okay, from here, I want you to take a deep breath in. Place both heels literally like around below your knees or a little bit further forward of your knees, but not any closer to the body. Your tailbone is grounded. Let's bring mobility into shoulder bridging. A lot of the time you do bridging, it's all about the glutes, glutes, glutes. Let's bring a bit more mobility into our glute bridges today. As the heels are pressing down into the ground, spread your fingertips out nice and wide. As your fingertips spread out nice and wide, again, get that connection with your core and your pelvis and draw everything down. Good. And then from here, as I drive my heels into the floor, I press my hands into the ground. I'll gently just lift my tailbone off the mat and pressing it up. Good. Now think about the bones you sit on, your sitting bones. Draw them together. If you're like, Audrey, where are my sitting bones? They're just the 2 bones you sit on. So the bones that your glutes are literally attached to, okay? So I can feel mine there. So if you can feel your bones you sit on, that's them right in the center there. Good. That's where they are. And then you have that attachment area where your bum cheeks meet your hamstrings. I also want you to engage that space there today. So if you can't find that, you'll notice 2 really tight muscles in your hamstrings there that when you're in bridging, they're definitely engaged. You can feel them. They're right under your bum cheek. I want you to engage those 2 spaces. Press your hands down into the floor. Draw the inner thighs into the, like as if they're drawing inwards and down. Press your heels towards your shoulders towards your heels. Take a deep breath in, inhale. And exhale, release your shoulders down into the mat. Release your mid-spine into the mat. And release your lumbar spine into the mat. So when you reach your lumbar spine into the mat, it's almost like it's curving gently into the mat. The tailbone completely releases. You power through, you exhale and you lift. When I'm lifting, I'm sending the front body, the anterior chain forward. So as I press my hands into the ground, I take a deep breath, I open my throat, and I feel the shoulders melting into the ground. I take my time, and then like a little curve down, like a little chain of beads just releasing down to the lumbar spine, to the tail. Watching the knees as you release down. Let's go for 2 more. one more. Now stay at the top. Now you're like, Audrey, I'm going to do the mobility. We're doing it right now. Pull your heels into the ground, send your knees forward. Stabilize. Imagine like you had a band around your knees, okay, and it was tied really tightly. From here, I want you to make sure your left leg is completely still. Just bring your right knee wide. So my right knee is wide, moving away from my left knee, and it's coming back in again. My bum cheeks are not lowering. If you're like, Audrey, my bum is going to be going down to the mat in a second, then maybe bring 2 fists underneath your glutes so that you know that you're going past the point when your glutes are dropping down, and then you can just realign yourself. Good. As you go for 8. If I wasn't doing this at home and I was doing it in a studio, sometimes I'd use a block so I could make sure that I'm definitely at the highest point. Let's go for 4. I'm still counting. For 3 and 2 and 1. Now bring that right knee wide, tiny pulses. Keep that left leg completely still. My inner thigh is definitely fired up here. My left glute is definitely on. As you go for 4, core engaged. 3, 2, 1. Bring the right leg in, stabilize, press that right heel into the ground. Left knee goes wide and bring it home. Left knee goes wide and bring it home. Let's go for 8 and 7 and 6 and 5. So you're moving that hip, that hip socket is like a ball and socket joint. So it moves in more directions than just in and out and forward and back. You know, it's like a 360. So really get into those spaces as you go for 3, 2, and on 1, tiny pulses, tiny pulses, tiny pulses, tiny pulses for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release everything down. Roll everything down, windscreen wipe the knees from left to right and left to right. From here, let's up the ante a tiny bit. Breathe in, press down through your hands, press down through your feet. As you lift up, could you breathe in? Maybe you want to reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and maybe not today, that's fine. Press your inside mound of your left heel into the ground, the left foot. Stay lifted. Bring your right leg, good, up into tabletop. And from here, could you reach your hands as if they're reaching towards that knee? Tap that foot down, arms go back at the same time, working with both the lower body and the upper body. At the same time, reaching in and drawing away, just like we did in our ab series. Let's go for 5. Good. And 4. And 3, let's go to the dark place on 2, and on 1, reach that heel up towards the ceiling. Tiny lifts with your heel, tiny lifts, tiny lifts, tiny lifts, tiny lifts. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bend the knee, plant the foot down, stabilize. Remember, bring the hands down at any point. Left leg lifts, breathe in, tap, and lift up, tap, and lift up. Let's go for 6, and 5. And 4, 3, 2 more, and 1 more. Bring that left heel up towards the ceiling. Tiny lifts, tiny lifts, tiny lifts, tiny lifts, tiny lifts for 8, 7, 6. Right glute is definitely on, right lower hamstring is definitely on. 3, 2, and roll down on 1. And tell your bum it's going to be okay. Bend your left knee. With your left heel, always make sure that you're at that kind of angle with your heel that is pressing away and your toes are coming to your face. You don't want to damage your knee on the left-hand side. And then if you're going to bring your right foot up, make sure that your neck is supported. If your neck is lifting, put a cushion underneath it. And then grab the back of your hamstring. If you are in a tight body today and you would rather have your hand behind the back of your leg, that's fine. If you want to go a little bit harder, you can bring both hands in front of your kneecap. I just want you to close your eyes from here and let everything go. Release any tightness in the hip. As I pull that right thigh bone towards me, the left knee sends itself away. It's like a little tug of war at the body trying to find space. Let's go for 4. And 3. And 2. And on 1, release. Good. Just take a moment to notice the difference between sides. And then bring the right leg over. It's always important in any class you do to notice the difference. You know, how when you started class and when you finished, or how your muscles felt after a certain exercise. Bring your right knee away from you. Pull the left hamstring in towards your body. And again, because the right knee is sending itself away, again, one side of the body is moving against the other, but you're still trying to find space. Maybe you can close the eyes and really internalize the stretch. Or maybe you want to bring the hips from side to side and massage them out. For 3 and 2 and on 1. Gently bring both feet down. Roll both knees over to the right hand side, and then from here we can bring ourselves to our standing series. In our standing series today, at any point, if you need to bring your knees down, do that, of course. Let's warm up the hips to start. Bring both hands down onto the floor. Good stuff. From here, fingertips and hands shoulder width apart. Spread your fingertips out nice and wide, and from here I want you just to create some circles with your wrists and shoulders. So circle the shoulders around the wrists, come side, come forward, come through, good, all the way through, and reverse your direction. Bring a bit of weight over the wrists, not too much, but just enough that you can strengthen. For 2 and on 1. From here, take a deep breath in, inhale. See with my right knee, my toes aren't tucked under yet, but what I want you to do is I want you to bring your right knee is here, and I want you to bring it out nice and wide, and I want you to bring your right knee to your right elbow, but lift the shin. Yeah, I know it's very grainy in there. Lift the right heel and lift the right chin and stay here. Bring it back out. Bring the right knee to your right elbow and bring it back out. Let's go for 6. Really working on the left hand side. Stability for 5 and 4 and 3, 2 and on 1. Now, right knee to right elbow, lift the shin and give me tiny shin lifts as you go for 8. You're like, oh my God, what's happening? I know. 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Bring everything home. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Left knee to left elbow, pause, touch, bring it back. Inhale, left knee to left elbow and bring it back for 4. Core engaged. 3, 2 and on 1. Left knee to left elbow, lift that left shin, lift it more, lift it higher. Good. As you go for 6, as you go for 5, as you go for 4, 3, 2 and 1. Take your left leg forward. My left leg is forward, my right knee is back. From here, lengthen your back leg as much as you can. Find a bit of space to your hip flexor, and just like that cat-cow we did earlier, bring your fingertips forward onto the mat. Open your collarbone, open your throat, breathe in. And exhale. As I round, I'm going to lift my hip flexor a little bit. My tailbone will drop. And then I open. Let's mobilize that hip joint as you go for 5. And 4. 3, 2, and on 1, bring your hands down onto the floor. You have an option here. You don't have to do it. You can lift your right leg off the floor, or you can keep the right knee on the floor. I don't mind. And you can bring the hips forward and back by pressing the heel forward or pressing the heel back. If you're an advanced person and you want to bring your elbows onto the mat, if that's in your practice, definitely do it. As you go for 4, core engaged. 3, good work. 2, and on 1, really sink into it. Drop the right knee down, bring that left knee back, bring the right leg forward. Right leg is forward, fingertips come forward. It's so nice that you can do cat-cow in literally as many positions as you wanted to do. You can do in seated, in kneeling. Let's do it in lunge right now. You can widen that knee if you want to. Open your heart, open your throat, and around. Inhaling and exhaling. Notice if you can play around with that hip flexor on the left hand side, the front of your thigh. For 2. And on 1, from here, bring the hands in a little bit closer to the body. If you want to lift the left knee off, do. If you don't want to, don't bother. And just bring that heel forward and back. Forward and back. Let's go for 5. Let's go for 4. Neck long. 3, 2, and 1. Could you bring your right hand to the outside of the right knee? Could you keep that stance? If your knee is down, you can lift it now. Drive your right heel into the floor. Tell your glute who's boss. And as you come up very slowly, very slowly, very slowly up to standing, lengthen your arms up overhead. As I lengthen my arms up overhead, I breathe. I open my chest. My thumbs can come together if that's in my practice, or else I can just reach. Stay here and hold and sink into it. From here, I want you to breathe for 3. For 2, and on 1, bring your hands underneath your right hamstring, let them touch each other, and then bring your arms back up. And notice that when I bring the hands down underneath, my left knee is dropping into lunge, and I bring myself back up. My knee on the right hand side is in line with my foot. It doesn't go behind my foot. As I go for 4, you're like, count, Audrey. As you go for 3, and 2, and on 1, stabilize, lengthen, reach your arms back behind you, open your breastbone, open your chest, let the fingertips come to the floor, let the chest release up, and engage your core as you float over. Let's go for 6, let's go for 5, and 4, maybe bend that knee as you lengthen those arms up for 3, for 2, and on 1, scooter. Straighten out that back leg a little bit more. Sink a little bit deeper into your hips. With your right hand forward, your left hand back. Can you lower your stance and go for 10? I know the right bum cheek is on fire. 8, 7, 6, one of my favorite moves. 4, 3, 2, and on 1. Either hands on your hips or hands behind you. Drive into your right heel. Slowly lift that left leg up. Bend your right knee, open your throat, and find stability here. For 5. Thigh bone rolls in, chest opens. 3. If your hands are reached behind you, have the thumbs pointing up. 2. And slowly come back to center on 1. Take a moment. Have the feet hip distance apart. Have the palms open. And just breathe. Find space in the stillness. For 4. For 3. And 2. And on 1. Just know that this is the last bit of hard work we'll do today. Bring your left leg forward. Bring your right leg back. Bring your right knee down. Remember, if you need to take a break at any point, do. Send your left heel into the ground. I've got a frog in my throat. Bring the right thigh bone in. Inhale. And lift up. Now, find your stance. Roll that thigh bone in. And as you breathe, inhale, make sure you've switched legs. And sink a little bit deeper. Good. From here, bring the hands underneath that hamstring. Watch the knee bend. And lift up. Make sure you definitely switch legs. Good. As you go, inhaling and exhaling. Every time you get a little bit lower, could you challenge the back body to get a little bit lower with the back knee as you go for 4. And it's such a small movement, but it's so mighty. 2. And on 1, come back to center, lengthen your arms up overhead. As I reach up, open your heart, open your chest. Let both arms reach down. And inhale to lift. Exhale over. Work through the back body a little bit more. Maybe bend that back knee a little bit more as you get deeper. As you go for 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. My favorite, scooter. Find your length. Find your chest. Find your openness. Get that tailbone pressing behind you. Good. Left hand forward, right hand back. Right hand forward, left hand back. Good. Really up your speed, but find that depth as you go for 8. You're like, Audrey, my glute. I know. For 5. For 4. 3. 2. And on 1. From here. Trust the body that it can do the job that you needed to do from here. Press your heel down into the ground. Lift slowly that right leg off the floor or the other leg if you're using it first. And see if you can keep some softness in the front leg. Maybe reach the hands behind you. Thumbs and middle finger and baby finger all pointing up. Otherwise, have your hands on your hips or holding onto a chair. And breathe. For 5. 4. Engage your core. 3. 2. And on 1, slowly come back. Take a moment, feel everything. Lengthen your arms up overhead. And instead of coming straight down, feel like you're coming up and over. So as I bring my chin to my chest, I'm coming up and over. My knees are soft. The back of my neck is long. And I can feel that my upper body is just really draping over the legs. If I want to grab my elbow with each opposite hand, I can, but I really must commit to having that core engaged, the gaze dropping to my knees, and really breathing. Maybe the weight of the body can go into the balls of the foot a little bit more. Take this moment to just be present and engage with your breath. Notice all the trembling in the body or the space. For 2. And on 1, bring your fingertips onto the floor. And very slowly take your time and bring yourself back onto the mat. If you want to sit on a cushion, feel free to sit on a cushion. We're going to do some deep twisting. What I love about twisting is not only are you like wringing out your body, but you're also creating a lot of space around the ribs, the mid-back, a lot of that area where we take the load of the lower spine and then bring it into our mid-back. Really get into those spaces. I like to sit in a block for this. Not everybody does. It just makes me a little bit more upright. Everybody's different. From here, with the legs nice and crossed, take the jelly away from your glutes. Good. And sit up nice and tall. Good. When you're twisting, I want you to twist from the rib cage and shoulders. The upper belly button will twist as well, but I want you to do it segmentally all the way up, and then your gaze is the last thing to follow. So sitting up nice and tall, open your heart, and then bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee. From here, bring your right hand up and behind you all the way over until it lands directly behind your back. And then I'm going to twist my lower torso, then my mid torso, my upper torso. I'm going to relax that elbow on the right hand side, soften that right shoulder and gaze over my right shoulder. I'm going to pull that right knee in towards me, see if I can get a little bit more of a twist. And as I close my eyes, I find my inhalation lengthens me and my exhalation gets me deeper into my twist. Lengthen. And twist. And visualize the organs behind your ribs really, really twisting with you. For 4 more breaths. 3. 2. And on 1, take your time, come back to center. When you twist, feel like when we're going to the left hand side, that right rib is sliding past my left rib and my left rib is sliding past the right. Bring your right hand onto your left knee, lengthen your left hand up, bring it behind you, and then start segmentally moving through your body. Your gaze is the last thing to follow. Inhalation to find length, exhalation to twist. Inhalation to lengthen, exhalation to twist. For 3. For 2. And on 1, slowly come back to center. From here, I want you to place your hands like they were at the start of class. Place the thumb onto the index finger knuckle. Spread your fingertips out nice and wide and just notice how your body feels. If you have a bit more length there, you can sit up a little bit taller. And take 8 breaths. Find that gentle pause in between the top and the bottom of every breath. Inhaling and sigh it out. For 6. 5. Feel all that breath work traveling down to the base, the root, the lungs expanding. For 4. 3. 2. And on 1, blinking, open the eyes. Bring your hands together in front of your heart center. Give yourself a little tap on the back for showing up for your practice today. Bring your thumbs in between your eyebrows, front of your third eye, and thank your mind for being present and really working with the breath. I want to thank you all for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you feel more mobile, more lengthened, more strengthened. My name is Audrey O'Connor, and thank you so much for practicing with today. Namaste, everybody. Well done. All the hard work is done. I hope you can go about your day or your evening or whatever time it is and have a lovely day. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me.